Pac-Man World 2 vs. Repac. Is this how you remake a game? I covered the original Pac-Man World 2 early in 2025 on this channel because it's a game that I always wanted to play as a kid, and I ended up really enjoying it. I liked the platforming style and the level design. There were some parts that were a little repetitive and hard, but it led me to also go and play the original Pac-Man World and Repac, which I also covered on this channel. And now with the release of Repac 2, let's check it out and see how it compares to the original. Pac-Man World 2 Repac is a remake of the original game that was announced during a Nintendo Direct in July 2025, which drove some attention to my videos, which led me to make more Pac-Man content. The trailers boasted tons of new features that expanded upon the original Pac-Man World 2. The game was developed by Now Productions, who also developed the first Repac, and was released on September 26, 2025 for all these platforms. I ended up buying it on Steam and playing it on my PC. So let's hop into the game now and see how this remake lives up to the original game. The game starts out with a cutscene that is almost one-to-one with the original game, just with some updated graphics. We get Pinky lovingly watching Pac-Man sleep, and then all the other ghosts causing havoc around Pac Village, until they end up removing the golden fruit from a tree, unsealing the ancient demon Spooky. Spooky's voice is a lot raspier than the original, and as you'll see, all the voices are different from the original game. Spooky gives the ghost the golden fruit and tells him his plans of destroying Pac-Land. Then we are booted to the main menu, where Pac-Man is standing at a dock. But I'm not really fucking with this main menu compared to the original. If you watch this channel, you know I have a bias for older looking graphics, but I do think the new graphics are nice, but the old one to me felt more cozy and had more personality. Like Pac-Man playing hacky sack with the logo, I think it missed out on a lot of style points here. We also get a first look at Pac-Man's voice, which is quite jarring coming from all the other games where he doesn't speak at all.
Pac-Man World 2, Repac.
I know this is the same voice actor from Pac-Man World 3, which I haven't played yet, but it seems just a little strange to give him a voice, but I've only heard one voice line so far, so let's see how it pans out before I get a little too critical.
Boy, am I tired. Could have sworn I felt eyes on the back of my neck all last night.
Yeah, I hate his voice. No disrespect to the voice actor, to anyone that enjoys the voice, but I find Pac-Man's voice annoying. I don't think it suits him at all. The next cutscene has Pac-Man waking up to the village in chaos, and Professor Pac explains that the ghost release, Spooky, who the ancestors of Pac Village sealed away a long time ago using the golden fruit, has now been unleashed. Pac-Man is now tasked with hunting down all the golden fruit to return Pac-Land back to normal, and seal back up Spooky. We then take control of Pac-Man, where we can explore Pac Village. The old Pac Village had one exit to leave the map, but this one has one for each different world, and the paths are blocked off by tree roots that disappear after completing the previous world. This leads the map to have Pac Village to be centered around everything, while before it's just a one linear path on the map. The village also has some areas to change costumes, play retro Pac-Man games, maze levels, and even gachapon machines. You can display your gacha figures on these displays around the map, and can also collect them from completing levels. Being able to play the maze levels from the village also means it doesn't interrupt a normal level with the maze, which is kinda nice. It makes the game kind of flow a bit smoother. After I messed around in the village a little bit, I hopped into the first level, where I got to learn all the controls and gameplay mechanics. We got the jump, butt bounce, and if you time it correctly, you can get a bigger butt bounce, which also stuns enemies. The flutter, that was also in the first Repac game. The rev roll, throwing pellets, and the flip kick. Landing the butt bounce is a lot better too, giving you a marker of where you're going to land. In the original, I definitely butt bounced off the side of the map quite a few times. Then to fight ghosts, we take a power pill and go big mode like in the first Repac. We then get the swimming controls and then the metal Pac-Man ability to sink and walk around at the bottom of the water. The game still has all the hidden fruits to collect to open up chests around the map, and we use all these mechanics to complete the level. The game controls pretty well. It feels a lot different compared to the original Pac-Man World 2, and aligning more with the first Repac, being more floaty. But unlike both of those games, we are given less fixed camera angles and can really look around each level. The first level isn't a one-for-one of the original game. It takes the main idea and style of the level and transforms it to fit these new controls, and really polishes up some of the clunkier stuff from the original game, which is what we see in the rest of the levels too. The only thing I was a little sad about was the level loading screens. I thought Pac-Man animated in the scenery of the levels was such a cool touch to the original game. But in this, we only have a screenshot of Pac-Man in the level. You can complete objectives throughout the levels, like collecting all the fruit, defeating all the enemies, or coming back after in a time trial. Doing these objectives will unlock you costumes and songs you can play in Pac Village. This adds a lot of replayability to the game after you fully beat it. I then completed all the levels in Paradise Meadows, and it ended with a boss fight with Clyde's killer frog. This boss fight is pretty similar to the original. It adds these explosive barrels that will stun Clyde, giving you time to damage him if he swallows one. Then once getting his health bar halfway, he pops one of the golden fruits and gains some new attacks. I beat him and took my first golden fruit back to the village to go to the treetops. These levels are a lot better with the marking showing where you're going to land because I fell off this level a lot in the original. These levels didn't feel far off from the original game until getting to the boss fight. In the original, Inky has a giant ghost with saw blades and you just gotta rev roll it. Then after, pretty much all the other bosses look the same, just some kind of giant ghost with a new attack. They changed up all this in Repac, completely changing the boss fights from the ground up. This time Inky has a giant owl mecha that will fling feathers at Pac-Man. You dodge those attacks and go up for a flip kick to damage the owl. After getting the owl's health bar down halfway, it pops a golden fruit and will shine a spotlight that will charge up a laser beam if Pac-Man steps into it. This boss fight wasn't too hard and I beat Inky and got the next golden fruit. Next up is the snowy mountain. We see Pac Ranger and then head straight into the snowy landscape. These levels had some minor changes, like adding landmines in Avalanche Valley, as well as a ghost that just chucks shit at you in Blade Mountain. Then, like I mentioned before, the boss fight was completely remade. Pinky, who is in love with Pac-Man for some reason, gets mad that Pac-Man wants the golden fruit more than her, and then slides away in a giant robot. We chase her by ice skating down the mountain, and when reaching the bottom, the robot is revealed to be a polar bear mecha that shoots bombs and does this whirlwind attack. These green bombs can be kicked back at her to deal damage, and when getting her to half health, she'll pop the golden fruit and send you to an area below the map to continue the fight. I thought it was pretty funny in the transition between the battle, she calls Pac-Man an impudent little circle. She shoots a big ice beam now, and when kicking the bombs back, she'll spike them back at you one more time before they actually deal damage. This one was a bit more challenging than the other boss fights. It took me a few more tries compared to the other ones, but I ended up beating her, getting the golden fruit, and went over to the volcano area. The first few levels didn't feel too much different compared to the original ones, but the third level was a lot different, adding these parts where you roll on these pillars over lava. This added some interesting challenges to the level. It made good use of the lava, as before it was a lot of just jumping platform to platform and hoping not to fall in. But the boss fight added in some interesting challenges too, maybe a little bit too much for me. This level has you fight Blinky. In the previous game, he was just a robot ghost that shot fire and magma balls, which gave me some trouble then. This one switches up to Blinky putting on a show, playing this big drum set that will fling out music notes that can be kicked away. You dodge attacks from him while also dodging spiders and magma balls, all while trying to hit these switches in order, so you can make your way up to the stage and butt bounce on Blinky and his robot spider. This part was such a struggle for me. Like, I just kept getting fucked up by all the attacks and everything flying at me on screen. It kind of reminded me of Anubis Rex fight in the original Pacman World. I eventually got to a second phase where he pops the golden fruit and gets a machine gun attack, but would end up dying shortly after. Because I was getting impatient with this level, I kept trying to figure out fast ways to do it by rev rolling everywhere, but even that would sometimes screw me over. The game itself knew how bad I was doing. It kept trying to give me tips and at one point told me to change the difficulty over to the baby mode where you have unlimited health and unlimited lives and can only die by falling off the edge. But I said fuck that, I'm no baby, I'm not changing it to baby mode. And after close to like 30 minutes of dying, I finally conquered this level. That may not seem like a long time, but the previous bosses took me like 5 to 10 minutes at most. After all that frustration, it's time to cool off and head over to the ocean. Now they switched up the swimming controls in this game to be a lot smoother, and doing the dolphin kick felt really smooth fighting all the enemies and traversing the underwater levels. We then hop on the submarine, and this part feels super similar, but we get the ability to dodge side to side, which helps a lot, especially with the amount of torpedoes getting shot at you in these levels. The final level being the fight with Mega Whale, which is in the first game too, but it gets a lot more involved than the original. There are a bunch of different stages to this level. You start with shooting down the turrets, and then the lasers on the side, then it pops a golden fruit and you gotta aim at the red button on its ass and then one on its head. If you die before any of these, you gotta start from the beginning, which was a little frustrating at times, but it wasn't as hard as the Blinky fight. I eventually made it past this part, and I thought this is where the fight would end. But you get swallowed by the whale and fight it from the inside before finally beating it. Now it's time for the last area, Ghost Island. The first level has you traverse the map in roller skates, and they added some rails to grind on them, which I felt slowed down things a little bit, especially when this weird glitch happened. The next level added a bunch of new mazes that weren't in the original, and next up, the fight against Wormwood, the evil brother of the golden fruit tree. In the original game, you just solve some puzzles and it just kills the tree, while in this game they made it a little more involved, having you destroy a piece of the tree along the way until getting to the tree and fighting it in this battle. Now it's time for the final battle against Spooky. Pac-Man confronts Spooky in Pac Village, and Spooky uses the golden fruit to uproot the tree and start the boss battle in the sky. Spooky will throw fireballs and shoot lightning, all while spawning in skeletons around the map. I forgot to say that in all the boss battles there are enemies around that will rarely drop health, but can save your ass in some situations for sure. After getting Spooky's health bar down by flip kicking him, he'll use the golden fruit to create clones of himself that will deal damage to you, but won't actually hurt him if you hit them. Then after defeating him and all the clones, he'll use the golden fruit to become a giant and gold. The only way to deal damage now is to dodge his attacks until he rises these platforms from the ground that you have to jump up onto and rev roll into him. All of this is pretty challenging. Spooky throws a lot of different attacks all at once, especially when his clones come in. Then when jumping the platforms up to him later in the fight, this has to be done in a timely manner since they will eventually fall and deal damage to you. I ended up getting the last hit in, and Pac-Man uses the power of the golden fruit to punch Spooky and seal him away for good. The village in shambles is restored by using the golden fruit, and the village is saved. Pac-Man's dog ends the game in the same way as the original and chases off the ghost, and it cuts to credits. Pac-Man World 2 Repac, I have to say, is a really solid game. It really took everything that made the original game good and used it to craft its own game. The level design stays faithful to the original, but opens up the areas by allowing you to see more and explore, and gives you solid controls to be able to do so. The first Repac was given some criticism for being too easy, and I admit it was a lot easier, but I still enjoyed it. This one did make some things a lot easier, but there were still a lot of challenging parts to this game. And if you find it too challenging, they added an easier difficulty. I struggled a lot through some areas, but it wasn't due to jankiness like the original game. I say the only thing that lost some points were just some personal preferences. I myself did not like Pac-Man's voice. I just found it a little cringe and annoying at times. And I also feel like the game lost a bit of style, like removing the animated loading screens that I originally enjoyed from the original. This game also adds so many collectibles and objectives to make this game super replayable. Wait, the credits just finished and it looks like there's another cutscene? Well, let's check this out. Right when I thought I was up, they pull me back in. Oh shit, Pac-Man's kids just vanished into the tree, and when going back to the village and inspecting the tree, Pac-Man gets sent back in time and there's a whole nother chunk to the game. Damn, they really went another way adding content to this game. This is awesome. So each world now has one level plus a boss. The first area is now called Poison Meadows, and it's just like the tutorial level but full of poison goo everywhere and a lot more enemies. They even extended the level, making it longer with a whole new area, and this level is so hard. Like, they really ramped up the challenges on everything. Platforming around all the toxic mess while enemies are just after you, it's pretty hard, but it was so much fun. I got to the boss battle and Spooky says that he has Pac-Man's kids held hostage, and this is a Spooky from the past, and he is still as evil as ever. This time, instead of the killer frog, we get the poisonous killer frog that spits out toxic goo everywhere, and it is a lot harder than the first one. I eventually got him down after dodging all the goo, but he had put up a good fight, and I made my way through the rest of the areas. Each area having a harder extended level than the boss fight. The owl fight added a bunch of new attacks. The polar bear took more effort to kick the bombs back. The spider mecha just barraged you with some more attacks. Same with the mega whale. Woodworm's level just took a lot longer with some more challenging terrain before facing Spooky again. The fight with Spooky plays out almost the same, but the terrain is completely different. It's broken up into different platforms that make it really hard. I was falling off and dying so much, especially when the clones show up. Earlier in the game, I was struggling with the spider mech level and refused to turn on baby mode, but I caved on this boss fight. I was struggling with it so much. I kept dying so much. I was just so frustrated. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not the best gamer around, I know. But even with baby mode on, I was still dying by falling off the edge. But it still made it a lot easier, and I ended up beating him. Pac-Man rescues the kids, and I obtained a magic key that opens up fruit crates without having the fruit, which is pretty cool. Can go back and easily complete all the objectives. But the game isn't done yet. Pac-Man receives a note from an old friend that tells him to go meet him on Ghost Island. When going there on the regular map, a new area opens up, and you're greeted with a boss fight from none other than Talkman, who's pissed off for some reason despite making it up at the end of the last game. He also calls Pac-Man a pill-popping cheese wheel, which I thought was a little crazy. I still had the baby mode enabled and just decided to keep it on in the interest of time, since I've taken far longer with making this video than I planned. But even with this on, it was still a pretty hard fight. I'm sure it would have taken me a few hours without it on. Pac-Man throws down tons of attacks from all over and has multiple phases. When finally beating him, he was pissed off that he didn't get invited to Pac-Man's birthday. But he actually was and never showed up because he accidentally used the invitation for toilet paper. This part kind of caught me off guard, but was kind of funny. They make up and the game is over. For real this time. They added so many extra things to this game and it was so much fun. I know I didn't complete everything and 100% it, but I really want to now. They really really give you a lot of reasons to come back and play it. I know I didn't go into every detail on changes they made to the game, but I'm sure there are a lot of videos on YouTube doing that. I just wanted to get my point across that this game is an amazing remake, and how they should be done for every remake of any game. They really killed it on this one. Let me know what your favorite parts were of this game, and I'll go get playing Pacman World 3 so I'm ready for when they hopefully remake that game. Peace.